Good morning everybody and welcome to the Sunrise Safari. For those of you who don't know, my name is Jamie and I have Jean-Dre on camera with me this morning. And driving around on Djuma looking for those cunning lions is Brent along with Liam, the wildebeest. We also have Tara and Jerry in FC. And I'm still frantically driving north up Nkuhuma Road away from the dam. So a big thank you to all of the viewers who let us know that the lions were at the dam about half an hour or so ago. We are checking for them now. Brent's headed off in that direction. I'm going up here just to see where they are. And for those of you who might be joining us for the first time, this is a live safari. So everything that you're seeing on your screen is happening right here on Djuma and Arathusa game reserves in the Sabi Sands. And as you can see, a rather gloomy and grey morning makes life for tracking a little bit harder. It is 20 degrees centigrade, which is about 68 degrees Fahrenheit, and 88% humidity. So it's definitely feeling very humid. I'm wondering if the rain isn't coming, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to hold off for the duration of our safari. And now I've just realized I'm wearing a hat for no apparent reason because there's no sun. We're fine without it. I just bumped into a herd of elephants in this block, but they've disappeared into some really, really thick bush. And I just wanted to come up here and look away, and then I think I'm going to turn around and go back and check that side. I'm not sure which lions you were seeing on the dam camera. Maybe if you could let me know which pride or which coalition you think it might be. That would also be helpful in terms of maybe trying to guess who they are. You can do that as always on #SafariLive on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@WildEarthTV. And for new viewers, not only can you interact with us in that way, but you can send us questions or any comments that you'd like to make, and let us know what your thoughts and your feelings are on what's happening and what you're seeing. We've got already some answers as to who these mystery lions might be. So Ramey thinks they were either the Nkuhumas or the Tsalalas, and CC also suggested the Nkuhumas. That gives us a little bit of a hint. Now I hear that while I've been gone, the Tsalala pride was actually sticking around Djuma for quite a long time, which is exciting. It's always nice to see different lions around the place, especially that incredible female without a tail. They're very pretty lions, the Tsalalas. I wonder if it was them. And I wonder where they disappeared off to. Let's go and check around this corner. They might have gone around here and into the drainage line. We'll check along there. The thing is, on mornings like this morning, it's nice and cool. They could be on the move, especially if they're hunting. It's perfect hunting weather. It's breezy, it's windy. Most of the animals appear to be tucked away, hiding in the bushes. And it seems as though most people now agree that it was the Nkuhuma pride wandering around. Where do the Nkuhumas like to go after they go to the dam? I think I'm going to check east along Central and see if we can pick up anything there. was the Nkuhuma Pride, did you guys see a young male? Because that's also interesting. I know that Junior, the young sub-adult male who belongs to the Nkuhuma Pride, I know that he's been seen off on his own a couple of times, but he seems to do that. He seems to come and go. He splits away from the Pride and then rejoins them. But it really is time for him to start making himself scarce, or he's going to get himself into some serious trouble from those Birmingham boys. Although, I think Junior's actually he's quite canny. He's done very well in this situation. And if you're new and you're not quite sure what situation I'm referring to, the two dominant males that were dominant over the Nkuhuma Pride and the Styx Pride, a couple of prides in this area, they were pushed out by 5 young males. And Junior is right at that age, around 3 years old, where he would have been pushed out by his fathers anyway and sent packing, sent on his own mission. But I think with all of the confusion, that hasn't quite happened as it should, because his fathers have been booted out and made their way all the way down south to Londonozzi, as did Eugene yesterday when he went on an accidental mission through the Sabi Sands. We will all be happy to know that Eugene is safe and sound. There's no tracks coming through here, but it's so... Oh, there's hyena. That's not what I'm looking for. The substrate at the moment is so difficult to see. It is hyena, just hyena that looked a little bit strange in the light. I was hoping that they might have fooled us and come across this way. And just while I've got Brent talking in my ear, I've got my Game Drive channel on open comms for the moment. So if you hear some muttering coming from the sort of region of the footwell, that's the various guides on the reserve. So the lions don't think they've come this way. Franklins are all calling, but that's just dawn chorus sounds. They're announcing to the world that people are, or that they are where they are. And it's one of my favorite things about first thing in the morning is the dawn chorus that you hear. All of the birds rejoicing their survival during the night. Of responses from various viewers. So Lynn and PK and Deb and Diane, big thank you to all of you. Apparently Junior was with them. I'm reversing again just because there's no tracks coming out. And it was a suggestion that we go and check the game path between the road and the dam. What I really want to do, the viewers suggested that they came north, but I just want to go and have a look down the side of the dam wall, or just into that drainage line there. See if maybe they popped in there, because their tracks haven't come out going across this side. Lions, where are you hiding? Certain I would have picked up on tracks coming out on this road. I like to think I would. It is hard, but it's not that hard. We should pick up at least one of them. This is the game path I think that the viewers were referring to. It runs along to the left of me, and it is an enormous game path, and it's nice and sandy. So let's check for tracks there. Maybe they took that route. It's hard here. As I'm checking all along this game path, Donna wants to know if when I go on safari or when I go on holiday, presumably into the bush, whether or not I look for tracks, because I do it so much normally. Yes, I absolutely do. Kruger's a very difficult place to look for tracks because a lot of the roads that you travel on are tarred or very, very well driven. Quite a lot rockier than where we are now, but I do it. It's an automatic thing. You don't switch it off at all. And I noticed even taking my dog for a walk when I go back and visit Joburg, even doing that, when I walk along the side of the road, I always look for tracks. It's something that becomes part of your peripheral vision and a bit of an ingrained habit. I also listen for alarm calls in Joburg automatically, and then realize that the chances of there being a leopard in Joburg is fairly unlikely, or even really a bird of prey, but I still poke my head outside every time the go-away birds start shouting. Don't see them down here. Oof, you sneaky, sneaky cats. Where did you go? I've just had my first peek down into the dam, and that's the first time I've seen all of those catfish skeletons. It's interesting. Now, I know that Brent has disappeared off somewhere into the block to the north of me, and while I try and follow up on that angry squirrel who is shouting its head off, let's see how Brent's tracking is going, and I will catch up with you in just a few moments.
Hello and welcome to Safari Live. My name is Brent Smith. I have VM on camera, and we're busy hot on the trail of what is said to be the Nkuhuma Pride. So far, no luck. We've driven quite a long way through the bush here. We've heard a squirrel alarming somewhere around here. We're just listening for it now. But the francolins are making so much noise, listening for a squirrel is difficult. No, the squirrel's gone quiet, but I'm going to check down the edge of this drainage line. Hopefully they haven't headed straight north, because if they were moving with some purpose, they've probably crossed our northern boundary already. Just want to see if they've maybe stopped to lie down in this drainage line. So what we're going to do, if we get no luck here, is we're going to go back to the road opposite the Djuma dam cam, and I'm going to stop there, and you can tell me from where my position was, where did the lions go? So we've had lots of updates from our wonderful viewers who watch the Djuma dam cam. Unfortunately, to make our life a little bit difficult, they're quite contradictory. So I think the best way and easiest way is for me to go stop in front of the dam cam, and the majority, left or right, will win, and we'll check that area. They could just be sleeping here somewhere close by. With all this foliage that's around now, can make it a little bit more difficult to see. Your spotting eyes on today. And after this rain, the ground's quite hard, so seeing tracks is nigh impossible in this area. Okay, you guys should be seeing me shortly on the Djuma dam cam. Okay, I'm going to stop in a little gap where you should be able to see me, and I'm going to park opposite the camera. Okay, you should be able to see my vehicle shortly on Nkuhuma Road. Go. You should see me in the gap. So I'm directly opposite the camera, facing the camera at the moment. So we're just waiting for the zoomies to find us. Gives us a good chance to listen for alarm calls. So literally we directly opposite the Timbuti tree. If you had to look from the Timbuti tree that the camera's in, we are directly opposite. And Vim can show you there. There's the tree. There's the camera. Okay, apparently there's been some difficulty in finding us. So we're just waiting. Okay, there we go. Apparently we've been spotted. So, did the lions go to my right or to my left? Or straight behind me? And we'll just do a quick lesson if you're watching the Djuma cam. That is east. That is west, that is south, that is north. Oh, apparently we have been abandoned by the camera. So let me try and maybe move into an easier spot to see. Okay, we are now in the middle of the dam, in front of the camera. The dam wall is to the left of me. The lodge is to the right of me. Lodge is to the right, dam wall to the left. So if we take the dam wall, the top corner of the dam wall is east, west is actually beyond the lodge, north is over there, and south is down towards Twin Dams Road. So now we wait. Can you hear any Vildy, do you hear that? No, I think it's just a squirrel talking, not alarming. So do the lions go to my right or to my left? Remember, send your answers through to hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or use the email address questions@wildearth.tv. So while you guys let us know, I'm going to continue on. I'll sit in the dam all day. Lions to find and whatnot. To the right. So this way. Diane, Deb and Corin say the lions went this way that we're currently traveling on. I think what we're going to do, there's no tracks going further sort of northwest on Mvubu Road. We might have to loop round to the Buffelshoek boundary. So maybe the lions went across here, but I said after that rain, tracks are near impossible to see on this compacted ground. It's got to be on the game drive radio for a second. Copy. Thanks, Ren. Any idea who they might be? Thanks very much. So there's a report of 2 adult male lions to the north of us. And they think it might be the Salatis. Copy, thanks, Shan. Lions. So, I really hope the lions have stopped somewhere. What we're going to do is we're going to go around the block. And if we get no tracks coming out from the Buffelshoek boundary, I think we'll come back and I'll go for a walk, see if I can find them on foot. definitely no sign of them on Nkuhuma Road. It only mean they've gone into this block. It's quite a big block. Really heavy humidity in the air. It feels like it's going to rain at any second. 80% humidity. So hopefully the wind, 88% humidity. Hopefully the rain stays away for the safari. But I do have that feeling like it's about to drop on us. So it seems that the general consensus on the chat is that they are between Gowrie Cutline and Nkuhuma Road. The unfortunate thing is that the other side of that is the Buffelshoek boundary. So I'm hoping they haven't gone just straight through. While we're on the trail of these lions, Virginia from Kentucky is wondering, do predators ever follow tracks when they're hunting? Yes, Virginia, only one predator, us. We're following the tracks when we're hunting, and we're hunting for lions at the moment. But no, they rely, most lion, leopard, etc. will rely on their other senses. They'll actually have to see or smell or hear an animal to engage with them. The way their eyes work, it's very unlikely that they are actually able to follow tracks. They might follow a scent, like of a big buffalo herd, but no, they don't follow the tracks themselves. Oh, a couple of raindrops. We're going to check very carefully here on the fire break that's alongside the boundary. Make sure they haven't crossed. Very carefully under all the bushes. I mean, if they flop down, it's going to make them harder to see, but we're looking for that sort of white flash of a lion's stomach. this road's a bit softer, so we do have a chance of seeing tracks on this road. Where could the kitty cats be? Well, on the positive note, there's no tracks yet, which means they haven't crossed out. Listen for a second. Any sort of squirrel? I'm even listening for tiny testicular alarm calls. It's amazing when you're looking for predators. The dawn chorus and no alarm calls sounds like absolute silence, even though there's so many birds and insects and other things making a noise, but it's not the noise you're looking for. Every little game path that comes out, just checking it very carefully. So the positive is if we don't find any tracks and I go around to the other side and I'll try look on foot. It's much easier to follow tracks on foot than from a car. Maybe I can pull a lion out of the bush by its tail. So while we keep checking, let's go see what Jamie's been up to, and while I go take a walk.
It kind of sounds like Brent might have got his left and right confused, which I can imagine caused a little bit of confusion and chaos. Whilst he's off on foot tracking, I've also gone in the opposite direction. Luckily there's two of us, so we can go and double check all the different directions. I've gone the exact opposite way. I'm towards the east, and so far this morning I think the squirrels all got up and had a little bit of a conference, and they agreed that they were going to alarm call just long enough for me to hear it and where it was coming from, and they do it in different directions, and then they're going to stop as soon as I get there. That's the new game for today. No, Wendell. Yes. Around. Keep watch. Halfway. Wendell having a morning grooming session. Oh, cleaning his beak and everything. His morning ablutions. Bye-bye. Oh. And that lovely little whistling song that you can hear is a white-browed scrub robin. They're very, very cryptic little birds. They hide away in these thick bushes, but he's chirping very happily, sounding like he's enjoying the morning. I'd love to show him to you, but we could probably spend about an hour looking for him somewhere in here. We've got to catch them right at a good moment where they flutter through between the twigs. Okay, well, we're checking Nyala Road South to the accompaniment of very minor drizzle. Just a couple of smatterings every now and again. Just enough to drop the temperature that much more. And Jandre's been the perfect gentleman and lent me his jacket to wear. a little bit earlier because I was freezing cold. I've warmed up now. Lions, where are you hiding? The interesting thing about a day like today, just thinking about the directions from the damn camera, is that without the sun, it is so easy to become disoriented. I'm generally not on roads that you know. I know where I am now, obviously. But if I was walking through a block, I'd have to pay very close attention to where I was going. And of course, so a leg that takes a slightly bigger stride than the other one. And if you don't compensate for that, you start to go in a slight curve, and you can actually turn almost 90 degrees on yourself if you're not aware of the direction that you're going in. And it's something that they teach you to compensate for when you're learning to walk, or something that it was a really good lesson that I learned. First of all, to be aware of which leg is dominant, and then after that, the way that you move through the bush, especially if you're trying to get somewhere rather than tracking something. You take a right around the obstacle and then a left around the obstacle. Okay. We're on to Central. It's a good road for tracks, even on a day like today. If I don't find anything here, then we're going down Vulture's Nest. And I'm just going to do grids until we find these lions. They seem to have been one step or two steps ahead of us all morning. So really, really quiet. Hello, Nyana. I was just about to say there's not much in the way of general game. I wonder if you're going to let me get closer. Let me try and get close to them. Just around that bush. Good morning, ladies. I think they're going to keep moving. Stop here. Hello, girlie. Lots of wagging tails. And these ladies probably would have spent the night huddled together in a thick drainage line, or in at least some thick vegetation. And they probably know exactly where the lions are. But I don't think they speak. Well, they do. I do sort of speak their language if they're immediately barking. But at the moment, they're just flashes of brown and white stripes between the leaves. So interesting. Keep an eye on their feeding behavior, because it's an antelope species that we see quite a lot. And when I first started working here, they were almost entirely reliant on browsing, but they are mixed feeders, so that means they eat both grass and leaves and trees, as well as any of the little perennial shrubs that might be around. But keep an eye on how their diet changes now over the next few months, especially if the rain continues, because they're going to get more and more reliant on the grass species that are growing. There's a lot of nutrients in fresh growth of certain grasses. And something like grasses and the feeding potential might seem like quite a dry subject, but it completely decides where you're going to find the animals that you're looking for. Everything is connected to what there is to eat out here. And it's how we used to know where to find the rhino back in the area I was working at before, was to go to certain stands of grass species that they enjoy. Hello girls. Trying to get a nice clear view of them. It's a little bit tricky. Still just wagging tails. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like there's 6 or 7 of them. Oh, something startled the one at the back, but she's calmed down again. And of course, looking at those stripes, we know each of our individual lions and leopards around here. If we really wanted to, if there weren't so many of them, we could identify each nyala by the pattern of their stripes. Like that little one who's just walked out of view has a bit of a Y on her shoulder. I feel like these guys, we would have heard them barking from where we were at the dam if the lions had come past here. The inside of her legs, that bald patch around her neck and then the inside of her back legs, looks like the start of mange to me. It usually starts on the inside of the back legs for some reason. And obviously something that can spread quite rapidly between groups of the same antelope. Yeah, I definitely think she's starting to get mange. That tail starts to look a bit incongruous after a while. And as we watch it flick, the underside of that is completely white, so if she was to startle now and to run away, she'd fluff up her tail and lift it up so that that white shows, and then she'd bound away into the bushes and then drop her tail and disappear. It's a perfect example of flash coloration.
Yeah, I can put it now on your way to that.
But I think our nyala are going to vanish, unfortunately. They seem to be disappearing, and I think that we have some lions to go and find. Let's hit the road again and go down Vulture's Nest. Maybe those lions will pop out there. Let's see if I can navigate out of here. Cars to be in here though. Incredible how we knew exactly where the lions were an hour and a bit ago, and they've managed to disappear completely. They've got to be somewhere around here. Maybe they did make their way into this block. If you were watching yesterday afternoon, but we had some serious thunderstorms attempting to roll in. They never actually happened. It was all threatening, but nothing really came of it. But Tippy would like to know what happens if there is lightning? Do animals get struck? Is there a record of how many are killed? And it does happen. Animals do get struck by lightning, particularly, of course, because of their height. Giraffe. There's something about them that attracts lightning. And every now and again, it's an unusual occurrence, and it's particularly unusual here in this kind of closed environment. It's quite thick bush. But it does happen. And then the other thing that will happen is occasionally you get, and it was something I learned very early on in my guiding career. I was on a walk with a trainer, and we came to what felt like a graveyard for impala, all under one tree. It was just not carcasses, they were both, at that point they were boats, but all around the tree. And he said to me, it sometimes happens that several members of a herd, especially if they're sheltering under a tree, which is naturally, if you're an animal, where you want to be, and that tree gets struck by lightning, it can have quite the effect in terms of numbers. I don't think there's official records, but you'd probably find that there have been studies done. And of course, lightning is something that is very, very common in the low veld and the high veld. Now, I grew up in Johannesburg, where the thunderstorms are considerable, and it was something we all dealt with. Hello. Aww. Warthog without a tail. Try and sneak up on them because they usually dash and stop. Now I'm going to make my way back towards Djuma Dam because I hear that there's an enormous herd of elephants on its way. Where did you go, Warthog? Looks like it's vanished off. I think I caught them somewhat by surprise. I also caught the harrier hawk by surprise. And it's probably something that you've looked at with the other guides before, but there is a big nest in this Balanites tree, in the greenthorn or the torchwood tree. It's going to be very hard to see if there's anything in it. That nest tucked away in there, very messy looking. That's the nest of the African harrier hawk, or a gymnogene, and I surprised it when I came around the corner. It flew away, but I'm sure it's going to have a chick in there. We'll have to keep an eye on it. It might start to stick its head up fairly soon. I'll find a picture of it quickly for you. Both the male and the female will take turns in guarding the nest, and the rest of them will go out looking for bird nests to raid. So they're very specialized in hunting and sticking their claws into birds' nests and holes, which means they're not very popular. And we saw this particular individual. I'm not sure if any of you were watching that live safari. I can't remember exactly where it was, but we saw it with the bright red head of breeding colors and agitation. Beautiful bird. Really nice, long, double-jointed legs. We'll keep an eye on this nest. And I think let's head back across to the dam. No sign of these lions. I'm starting to think that animals have some kind of secret tunnel system, or I don't know, wormholes or something around the dam, because the number of times we've been told that there's something at the dam, rushed across, and they've managed to melt away somewhere. I think it's probably the same elephant herd that Chandra and myself bumped into early this morning, just before we started our sunrise safari. Almost certain of that. Okay, let's scoot. I mentioned earlier about that Nyala with mange, and it's quite an unpleasant disease of the skin. And Donna was wondering what happens if the Nyala gets mange. Will it recover? What happens if the whole group of them gets it? And probably it will spread between the whole group. And essentially it's just going to, I've never seen a really bad case of mange where they've lost all of their fur and their skin's got that scabby look to it. I've never ever seen it, at least in this area, to become completely virulent and to take over the animal. And when it does do that, it gets to the point that the animal gets quite ill and quite weak and probably will be taken out by a predator fairly quickly. But it's something that doesn't seem to affect them too negatively out here. It's the same with the tuberculosis that we see in a lot of the animals out here, the TB. It's a naturally occurring disease. So they have a, oh, hello, Hobo, sorry. Interrupted your morning snack. This would be the perfect place to spot lion tracks in this drainage line, but they haven't come through here. They're a mystery to me, but I'm going to speed up a little bit because I have already checked all along this road. And let's go find those elephants. If it is the same herd that Jandre and myself saw this morning, it's the same herd as we saw yesterday. And they've got a very cheeky little baby with them. That little female who likes to raise her head and behave like a really big deal. I just want to catch them before they disappear, as all animals seem to, into whatever wormhole they have. Lots of birds shouting this morning, but not much else. Oh, I'm back. We've stopped for the bird that went to the pan, but it's flown away. There's a red-breasted swallow. It's not often you get to see them on the ground. Elephants quickly, and maybe if the lions are still in the area, if they're just lying down inside that drainage line, there's a chance that the elephants could flush them out and cause them to move. It's interesting. Diane's made a great Alice in Wonderland style reference to the fact that the animals just disappear. She's stolen them off somewhere. They've got somewhere that they all go to hide, disappear off. And it's amazing. It happens without fail on these chilly, cold, cloudy days. Animals just seem to go to ground. been doing very well since her and the Ellies are making their way away from the dam just because, and they're heading away from the lodge. I'm not sure if that would be left or right according to Brent, but we'll figure it out from there. It's east. East is away from the lodge. Apparently the elephants are now legging it away, and Natasha, you seem to think that the animals are running away from us today. Maybe they're just feeling shy. Maybe they're just feeling camera shy. But I think there is some kind of conspiracy going on, because the squirrels are also in on it, I swear. Even the Wahlberg's eagles aren't in their usual... Oh no, they are. Sorry, yes they are. They are sitting together. I like to check in on them. Have you got an egg yet? Oh, they're so beautiful. Really stunning pale morph eagles that nest on this road. You can see the female on the right, slightly bigger than the male on the left. Big yawn. And puffed up against the cold as well. Waiting for it to warm up a bit, I think. And we can head out and go hunting. Beautiful birds. Oh! We've seen a lot of birds being mobbed by drongos recently, and the reason that Wahlberg's took off is because a drongo landed just above it and then mobbed it. And I think that's rather rude, considering that is their nest tree. That's their nest there on the right, that messy collection of twigs. Okay, let's go find those elephants quickly before they vanish into the block somewhere. Few months, if this rain continues, or if the proper rains actually come, this road here is going to be a nightmare to drive. It's already getting the eroded channels, and roads are such perfect channels for water, which is why it's so important that managers of places like the Sabi Sands put a lot of thought and effort into where they're going to put roads, because you can rob an entire area of the water that's under the ground because it flows so easily over the road. The elephants have been landscaping. Luckily, not too difficult to navigate around. about roads as we go along, and I'm hoping the elephants are going to do what I'm going to talk about now. Now, Eddie Abbey says that when he was here on safari, he was told by guides that animals use the roads to travel on, and they absolutely do. It makes total sense for them to. It's the same way they make their own roads as game paths to waterholes. It's so much easier for them to walk along roads. They don't have to worry about thorns or grass. It's quieter. It's more open. They can see predators coming. Elephants have the elephants have disappeared into the wormhole. Now, if they were moving away from the lodge in a drainage line, that would be off to this side. Come on, elephants. Andre's just got to do a little bit of camera cleaning. Combination of dust and humidity. Hello, Eddies. Thank you. It's this little boy again. Sorry, little girl. It's a little girl. You guys hiding. Look at you go. What's wrong? Is the wind making you upset? There was an elephant there. It ran into the wormhole. Into this block. Oh, there they are. Okay, we can get a nice view of them. And Edward is suggesting, since and in the spirit of Halloween, that the animals are afraid of Wendy because she's returned from the dead and is now a zombie vehicle. That's a possibility, but it's not one I really want to consider, seeing as I'm driving Wendy. Sorry, Jean-Ray. Watch it. Oh, elephants. Please stick around. I think there actually might be something in that theory, because they are just moving away from us. Try and do this with minimal noise and minimal damage to zombie Wendy. Well, aren't zombies fairly indestructible? I don't know. Hello. Hello. Alright, mommy. Okay. I'm stopping. Hello. We've at least managed to get a view of them. Hello, beautiful. She's one of the bigger females in the herd, and definitely taking on a very protective role. She was just letting us know there, just in the look that she gave us, that we were not to approach any closer. There's the little female that seems to be lagging behind a lot at the moment. Always at the back of the group. Elephants, you're going to disappear now. There is an off-road track that goes into this drainage line that I can follow. We'll try and do that so we can stay with him. It is the same herd that we bumped into. It does have that little baby. We just haven't been able to see her. just yet. She stayed in the confines of the herd. Let's see if we can get you a nice view. I'm going to duck us under... Oh no, I'm not going to go there. Sorry, Andre. Branched to head. I get it. And that head shake she just gave me as I pulled up was to let me know that I'm not welcome any closer. Interesting. The rest of the herd is not concerned at all, but she doesn't want us to come any further. She's going to have a quick ankle scratch though. She's got some seriously sharp, pointy ends to those tusks. She's relaxed completely now. You can see it in her body language. She's feeding, flapping her ears. But I still think if I went any closer to go and see the rest of the herd, she'd have something to say about it. That swishing of the back leg backwards and forwards is usually an indication that she's slightly unsettled. Oh, resting. That's interesting, the way she's swinging her foot like that. And they do that just absent-mindedly, shifting from weight to weight, but I've never seen one do such a repetitive motion before. I thought she was scratching originally, but she's not. She's dancing. Could also be that she's got a slightly sore joint or a slightly sore hip. And I did learn that elephants can get arthritis, although it's unusual. And it could also just be a sign that she is unsettled. And she's making short work of that tree. And it's not a tree that I would particularly want to eat. I think it's a buffalo thorn. Yes, that is a very thorny buffalo thorn. And it's a tree that has lots of nutritional value to it, not much in the way of medicinal uses. And I know that Donna was wondering about animals and the plants that they eat medicinally, and elephants are particularly interesting because the little babies, when they're teething, they will go and find something astringent that dries out the saliva and numbs it a little bit. And that will either be a spike thorn or a cluster leaf. And I've tried eating them before. I definitely wouldn't recommend it. And I'm sure there's all kinds of things that elephants know about, instinctively or otherwise, or learned behavior. There's trees like sicklebush that have pain-killing properties in their bark. There's the little one. Very brief view. Hold on, Jandre, I didn't even see her coming. Okay, I'm going to try and sneak a little bit closer. Let's see if that female will let us. And if she gives us one more head shake or anything like that, then we'll turn around and we'll leave them. It is very thick in there. Let's see if we can manage it though. I'm stopping here just because I can see from their body language that they're not happy with our presence. I'm going to let them get a bit further ahead, and then we can try and look down on them in the drainage line. And in the meantime, Jill, you were talking about us reading their body language, and it's something that you learn over time, and there's so much more to know. I was reading an article about elephant body language and the tiniest nuances. And I saw it in a documentary as well with Joyce Poole, who's probably one of the foremost experts of elephant behavior in the world. And she was watching the elephant. All the elephant did was twist its trunk in a certain way. And she said, that elephant is thinking about charging us. And 2 seconds later, the elephant did. There's so much to know about them. Let's move forward a little bit so we can inch our way through. And Teresa, you mentioned that it looked like a labor kick that she was doing. And that is also a possibility. She didn't look pregnant to me though. But I think mostly it was just displacement behavior. She was slightly upset with us. Everybody watch heads. And I think our Ellies are seriously feeling camera shy. We've got some beautiful impala here. Nice bachelor herd. I'm going to stop for the moment. I'm not following the Ellies any further, I'm afraid. They're not happy, they're unsettled. I'm going to let them go and relax in the drainage line. This is their space and this is their home. And we've got some lovely young boys here to look at. They're all staring off into a direction. And this is another species that does fall victim to mange, which is what we were talking about earlier with the Inyala. And Miss Lynn, you were wondering if elephants ever get it. And I honestly have no idea. I've never really thought about it. I don't think so, just because that skin is so almost impenetrable. But I'm not too sure. These are really in peak condition, these males. They're beautiful. I think they must have got a bit of a fright when the elephants came through. I've seen elephants chase impala before, just for fun. And there's no real threat because there's no way on earth an elephant can be agile enough to hurt them in any way. I've been checking for signs of lions as well down here, but these impala are so relaxed. I don't think. And somewhere above me, trilling away. Interesting aside, sorry, I'm distracted by the defecating impala. You can always tell a male versus a female by the distance of the dung from the urine, because they usually urinate and defecate at the same time. Just an interesting little tracking note. When you find impala middens, you can tell the sex of the animal that went through. And the reason I love little facts like that is just because they tell you a story, even if you don't see the animals. The tracks and the evidence that they leave behind will tell you something. And if you're careful, you'll even see evidence of them sparring with each other in the ground. Time for a quick groom. But yes, that bird, that monotonous trilling sound that is coming from somewhere above me, I'm trying to find it. But Edward, you say that it sounds remarkably like your cell phone. I know that feeling. Brent has found the lions and they are moving away, so let's head across to him and I'll be back with you a little bit later.
Success! Finally! We've been tracking and they actually went where we didn't think they went. And we actually spotted them from about 300-400 meters down the road, and we were just doing our last attempt. I've just got to be on the Game Drive channel for a second, and this does look like the Nkuhuma's with Junior. Standing by. Confirm they're lying up on the boundary. Copy, yeah, you'll get our visual as you go through the dip from Gari Cup. So success, the Nkuhumas, hungry Nkuhumas. Look at those empty bellies. I started telling VM that I thought they might be ghost lions, and last night was Halloween because they weren't leaving any decent tracks to follow. So they've actually moved quite a long way from the waterhole and towards Buffelshoek Dam. So probably about halfway between the waterhole and Buffelshoek Dam, right on the northern boundary. Oh, aren't we lucky? They could have moved 50 meters from here and we wouldn't have seen a thing. Look at that stretch. It's amazing how supple their spines are. But they are hungry. Belly's looking quite empty. Okay, let's move around. Unfortunately, I think they might keep moving, and it looks like their general direction is north, which is unfortunately out of our area, but at least we got them before they disappeared. And look, have a look at Junior now. Look how his mane is developed. He's definitely shouldn't be hanging around with them. He's even starting to get a bit of a black tinge to the top. And it doesn't look like he's got any new scars and stuff on his face. It looks like he's been playing the safe game, avoiding all the males in the area. You see all the flies on his body. Those flies can be quite irritating, and with this humid, warm weather we're having, they're going to keep hatching. So I'm just taking some pictures of Junior's face, see if I can see any battle scars, but it doesn't look like it. You can see almost all the lines have their respective swarms of flies. You can see on her nose there. You notice the ears flicking constantly. Those flies are actually biting and feeding off the blood of the lion. You can see there's now a marked difference between Junior and the lionesses, and Georgia, I'm saying, is it the size being distorted on the screen, or is he as big as he looks? He's as big as he looks. I would say he's probably about the same size, if not maybe a little bit bigger than some of the one or two of the younger Birmingham males. And he is looking in fine condition. But as you say, it's very unusual that he would be with the pride still at this age. It's almost solely because of the Birmingham males and the sort of panic that's around at the moment, and all the lions trying to avoid them, and that he's able to stay this long with the pride. So Lynn's wondering, is this the full pride? It is. It's the 4 adult lionesses, the 1 sub-adult, and Junior. So all 6 present and accounted for. You can see there all of them present and accounted for. All looking a little bit hungry. And let's hope they decide to head on towards Buffels Hook waterhole rather than heading further north. Oh, he is a very good looking young male. Doesn't have the scars of life on his nose yet. Quite lucky he's managed to just sort of sneak about and avoid the Birminghams, the Salatis.
He's got 5 ladies looking after him.
Yes, as VM says, he's got 5 ladies looking after him, providing him with good meals, and he definitely takes the lion's share. I mean, he's physically so much bigger than the lionesses already that on any small carcass he will dominate and take probably 80% of the meat if they caught an impala, for example. So in some ways it is a hindrance having him around. And the other problem is that at this age he will definitely try and mate with his mother, his aunts, his sisters. So just going to reposition again a little bit, so Taxon can also join us here. I'm trying to think. Not in the best spot. Let's just make sure the Tax has also got some space. And we do have a really nice view of that lioness's face from here. The rest all facing away from us towards the Buffels Hook. Morning, morning. Oh, yeah, my Stupan guard. We've been walking a lot this morning to find them. They're jigger in that block, north of the dam. Yeah, apparently it was at Tinkoro.
Okay.
Where they come from?
So guys, just having a quick chat with Tat, back with you. Oh, look at those flies. Now, some of those flies have migrated from the lions onto us. So if we look there, VM's got Junior in the foreground, and there's the sub-adult lioness, is the one lying at the back. You can see she's just a little bit smaller than the other girls. Oh, those flies. Seems like Junior's got triple the amount of everyone else. And lazy lions. So a while ago when we saw the Nkuhumas, one of the lionesses had a very pronounced limp, and it was just after they killed a giraffe in Buffalo's Hook. So we sort of assumed that she probably got a kick from that giraffe while they were hunting it. And Barbara would like to know whether there's any news on the injured lioness. Well, Barbara, she's one of these lionesses lying here, but unfortunately if they're not moving I can't see which one and how pronounced the limp is, or if it's got any better. But it is great to catch up with the Nkuhumas, and even though they're looking a bit hungry, they're looking very well. Sorry guys, just got to be on that game drive channel for a second. FF. Confirmed you copied the update about Nkuhumas? We located Nkuhumas on the Buffalo's Hook cut line, probably 200 meters to the east of Gari cut line. Copy, thanks, Ev. Have they heard something? You see their heads just popped up? I wonder what she might have heard. No, I think head's gonna go flop down again. Oh, look at their ears flicking, trying to control those flies. It's actually quite funny. Flies get to a stage sometimes when the lions will actually growl at them and try to swat them and bite them. It looks like Junior's been to the hair salon. Looking very fluffy. So while we're sitting with lions, Eddie Abbey saying, is there any word on the Birminghams? And it's Lila Pride. Last I heard, the Birminghams were in the east, towards Nkuhuma. I have no idea where the Tsalalas were last seen. I think they were last seen on Arathusa. And also, for those wondering, the Salati males have been found to the north of us, but it looks like they're about to cross back into the Manuleti.